is the same as it's always been. Nothing's changed? I asked. Not a thing, she insisted. You've always felt the same way? Always. I looked her in the eye. So this is who you are? Jim? This is how you've always been. What do you mean? All this time, since we've been married, you're the kind of person who thinks it's okay to walk away from your spouse to be with someone else. Jim, no, I know that must have been painful for you. It didn't seem to slow you down. You've always had it in you to do this. It was just a matter of when. No! You've been waiting for this to happen, or maybe it's happened before and this is just the first time I've seen it. No! You can't believe that! Jim, it was one time, one night out of so many together. Please, you have to believe me, nothing's changed. If nothing's changed, then maybe we were never as solid as I thought. Maybe I never had the marriage I believed I did. After what I saw, you don't get to tell me what I should or shouldn't believe. No, it's not like that, she pleaded. What? You didn't leave me in front of everyone and disappear to spend the night with another man just because you could, while my so-called friends held me back and laughed at me for being upset? They teased me and told me to get over my feelings? Because how I feel doesn't matter. Is that what actually happened? No, I mean yes, but no. It's not like that. It was just one time. I'm pretty sure it was more than once. You didn't turn your phone back on until after 3 the next day. Okay, well, you're not wrong about that. But it really was just that one occasion, okay? Not okay, Linda. Nothing about this is okay. Not one thing. Jim, nothing is different between us. You don't have to make a big deal out of this. I find that hard to believe. If nothing is different and everything is normal, does that mean I can expect more of this in the future? Absolutely not. Should I have expected it all along? Definitely not. Then it's not normal and you need to stop saying it is. The door opened and a woman who had clearly been collecting herself after a difficult moment came into the waiting area, heading for the door and thanking the counselor who followed her. Jim? Linda? I'm Dr. Manette. You can call me Susan. Please come in. She was a woman in her mid-50s with curly, salt-and-pepper hair and a warm, sympathetic smile. We stepped into her office, which was cozy and inviting, just chairs and a love seat, with calm art on the bright yellow walls and a few simple knickknacks on a coffee table. There were also 2 open boxes of tissues, indicating that a lot of emotions were shared in this space. Welcome. Before we begin, I'd like to discuss the process and a few agreements, okay? We both nodded. The goal of our conversations is to help you communicate and find understanding. I'm not here to take sides. Each of you is entitled to your feelings, and whatever you feel is valid. My commitment is to the health of your marriage and the effectiveness of this therapy. Both of you will get a chance to speak, and both will be heard. Most of the time, I'll need you to talk to each other, not to me. I'm here to facilitate. You don't need to convince me of anything, is that clear? We nodded again. Please say it out loud. It's important we verbalize our agreements. Okay, I have no problem with any of that, I said. I understand. Thank you, Susan, said Linda. Good. Now, the most important rule we have is that we must be completely honest. There can be no avoiding the truth, no trying to present things in a more favorable light or deciding what your partner doesn't need to know. There can be no dishonesty at all, no keeping secrets. Just speak openly without hiding anything. Keeping anything under wraps will work directly against any progress we might make. Agreed? Agreed. Good. I'm also going to ask each of you to be respectful and not deliberately try to insult or hurt each other. When the other is talking, I need you to really try to listen with a sense of empathy, and that's not possible if you disparage each other. I want your best efforts to try to avoid that. Agreed? Agreed. That's going to be tough, I said. I'm still incredibly angry. Everything is still very raw. I may express my feelings in a sharp manner, but I promise to try not to be hurtful just for the sake of being hurtful. That's all I can ask. And you'll listen to Linda with an effort towards acceptance. I'll try. I'd love to know what's going on in her head. It's unfathomable to me, and to be honest, I don't think she understands it herself. Okay, Jim, I can accept that. I only ask that you make an effort. Having empathy for your wife is not only part of the process, it's an important goal in the process of conflict resolution. Or, you could just say, yes, Jim, Linda said with a hint of criticism. Linda, you just agreed not to provoke Jim. Sorry. All right. She gathered herself, perhaps realizing she had her work cut out for her. At some point, I may ask both of you to do some exercises or give you a little homework. I request that you make a good faith effort at such things. Don't let them slide, and we're going to learn some new techniques for communication. When I ask you to follow those patterns, I want you to try to do it. Agreed? Agreed. Good. Finally, I have to ask if there has been any kind of violence between you. Has either of you threatened the other in any way at all? Because I'm required to be concerned about your safety. No, never. Okay, good. Now you're both here voluntarily. You're not under a court order and you weren't referred to us by a lawyer or mediator. I take it that your goal is to resolve the outstanding issues in your marriage and build a stronger relationship. Is that correct? Yes. Linda nodded determinedly. We want to fix things. No, I said. This is the first I've spoken to Linda since the event I described in the email I sent earlier. I wanted a neutral arbitrator for this confrontation. I need to inform my estranged wife that our marriage is over. It ended the moment she dropped my hand to dance with another man and left to spend the night with him without so much as a word to me. Linda stared at me, speechless. Beyond that, I'd like to use this time to be able to talk to her and remain civil and to negotiate the terms of co-parenting our children without remaining married. I've already spoken to LW, our attorney. He's prepared a draft of documents for a joint petition for separation and divorce. What? Linda had apparently regained her voice. So we found an area of disagreement. Linda, you want to stay married to Jim, is that right? Oh my God, yes, more than anything, Jim, you can't be serious. Very serious. You don't get to just disregard me like that. You don't... What about Emma and Tommy? I'm not going to teach either one of them to tolerate being mistreated in a relationship. I'm not going to set an example where they can expect to be undervalued in their future marriages. You're crazy. I can't believe you're saying this. Linda, hang on. Jim is not crazy. He has made his goals clear, and I'm going to ask you to take him at his word for the time being. No, this can't. You can't. How could you? How could you even say that? What is wrong with you? How could I? How could you? I could have said all those things to you on Friday night if you hadn't just left without a word. It was just once. You married me just once. Just once does not mean it doesn't count. It doesn't have to be a big deal, okay? Nothing's changed. I don't feel any differently about you. It had nothing to do with you. We can go right back to how it was if you can just, please, let it go. Can't you see that you're hurting our marriage over nothing? Listen to yourself. Just, what would you say to me if I'd done that to you? What if I had left and spent time with someone else? If our friends had played a role in holding you back? Should I have expected you to act like nothing happened? No, that's different, and you know it. Why? Why what? Why is that different? Because you'd never do that to me. I sat there and didn't reply. I just looked at her and watched her for a moment of realization. Please tell me that you're beginning to see the problem, Linda. I knew you'd be upset, all right? I expected that your feelings might be hurt. But you'd get over it eventually. You have to. Because you love me, and I love you. And you do it for the kids. And I'd make it up to you. I'd do anything to make it right. I still will. I'll be the perfect wife. Anything you want, it's yours. Please. Jim, dear Jim, my husband, don't make this any harder than it has to be. I looked at the counselor. You getting this? Yes, I am. Do you want to help her out here? Because I have no idea where to begin? I'm not. Ah, she sighed. Linda, you just said that it would be unacceptable for Jim to do what he just mentioned, to leave you for a night. I'm sorry for what happened, and I wish I could change it, Linda said, her voice trembling slightly. It was a mistake, and I didn't intend for it to occur. Jim glanced at her, the weight of her words heavy in the air. Linda, I'm trying to understand where you're coming from, but it feels overwhelming, he replied, his frustration evident. You're expecting me to come to terms with something that doesn't make sense to me. I know it's hard, she responded softly. I can't express how much I regret it. I never wanted to hurt you, and I realize now that my actions have consequences. I just hope we can work through this together. Working through it isn't easy, Jim said, his tone softer now. It feels like I'm carrying the burden alone, and I don't think that's how a relationship should work. It shouldn't be, Linda agreed. We both need to put in the effort to heal. I'm committed to trying and making things right. I want us to rebuild the trust we've lost. It takes two to make this right, Jim pointed out, his frustration starting to fade. But it's difficult to see a way forward when I feel like I've been left to deal with this by myself. You're right, Linda acknowledged. I should have been more open and communicated better. I want us to face it together, if you're willing. We'll need to tackle this gradually, Jim said, looking at her with cautious hope. I'm willing to try if you are. Thank you for being open to that, Linda replied, relief washing over her. I don't want to lose what we have. Let's work on rebuilding it step by step. All right, step by step, Jim agreed, a hint of a smile creeping in. Let's just take it one day at a time. I was outside my body, just kind of watching it happen, helpless to do anything about it. There was nothing I could do but go along with it. Gosh, that makes me feel so much better. So, when you told Dee to cover for you and when you came back to speak with me about going to the bathroom, you had zero choice in the matter? Jim, believe me, given the choice between you and him, you win. Every time. No question. I choose you. Every time. Every day of my life for the rest of my life. Except that's not true. It's happened just once, remember? And you chose him. You chose him every time it happened. You didn't hesitate. You didn't look back. And you still don't feel bad about that choice. Dee was quite clear about that when she was covering for you. You're capable of looking out for yourself and making your own decisions. That is what she said. She stared at the floor again. Maybe I just don't want it to be true, she almost whispered.